Hey, what's up, Solarpreneurs? Today's topic is why you need to be speedy in your solar sales. A lot of you have heard the term money loves speed. We're going to be jamming on that and talking about why you should be quicker than ever in your solar sales process. Okay, welcome to the show. My name's Taylor Armstrong. We are here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and hopefully have a much better time in the solar industry. Hope you're doing awesome whenever you are listening to this, whether it's your first time or whether it's your 400. I think we're on like 420 episodes now. A lot of episodes. So thank you for listening whenever you're tuning in to the show. And as usual, we're free and available on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you can find podcasts. And all really we ask you to do for the show, the price is that you share the show, and that if you have not already, please go leave us a review over on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the show. It really helps us reach more folks like yourself and hopefully make an impact in the solar industry. Okay, and I'm probably sounding like a broken record saying this, but if you have not gotten your ticket yet to two things: number one, SolarCon, but more importantly, number two, our first ever live event. What are you doing? Go grab your ticket now. We are doing a live event in Sandy, Utah, maybe technically Draper, but it is going to be on how to 10x your referrals, how to get more referrals, how to speed up the process in receiving these referrals, and how to just have a lot more success. Okay, so we're going to be talking more and more about it, but we've got some insanely good speakers lined up that have all done 30, 40 referral installs a year minimum. Okay, so make sure you don't miss out. All you got to do is go to bootcamp.solarpreneurs.com. It's a little late recording this, not referrals, but bootcamp.solarpreneurs.com. It is the referral bootcamp. And there you can go snag your ticket, or alternatively, you can just buy a ticket to SolarCon with our coupon code, which is Taylor, and send us a screenshot. We're going to hook you up with a free ticket. Okay, and then before we jump into the topic today, just want to thank everyone that's come and said what's up I was over the weekend at Danny Pessy's Setter Closer Spectacular. We might do a recap episode on that. Some good content over there. But yeah, great event. And you guys know you should all be about continuing education. So events like these are great, and it's always fun to connect with people. But shout out to anyone that came and said what's up at the Setter Closer Spectacular over in LA. It was great hanging out with everybody there. And if you were there, we were passing out flyers to our events, trying to market it a little bit. So I would appreciate it if you can spread the word. Even if you can't make it to our event, please spread the word. Anyone you know that wants to really catapult their referral processes, they should come to our event we got coming up. Okay, so let's talk about why speed is so important in solar cells. Well, there's many things. Recently, I did an episode on the speed of trust. So that's one thing, right? If you can have trust with people, if you have that confidence in people, you're going to speed up your processes. Whether you trust your team, you trust your installer, you trust your customer, everything's going to go quicker. So that's a great book by Covey if you want to go listen to it. But the other thing that I was just reminded of over the weekend is I woke up this morning. We're recording this podcast here in March. I woke up. It's a Monday, and we saw several texts from people. Hey, what happened with Everbright? Right out here, we're selling a lot of these Everbright power purchase agreements. And if you are selling Everbright, you might know what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to. But we woke up and Everbright had lower the EPCs. If you don't know what that means, essentially they had lowered the commissions on our deals by a pretty significant amount. So instantly we got guys freaking out. We got guys ready to just leave the industry. Maybe not that bad, but like a lot of people were losing their minds over this. And I'll be honest, like when I first started, I'm like, oh my gosh, don't tell me we're losing a ton of commission. Come on, these things were going so smoothly. Of course, it has to come to an end. And I was in my head, I was a little bit freaking out too, if I'm being honest. So I'm like, man, I know solar's still going to sell, but come on. We have to go through another one of these, dropping our commissions, trying to figure out how to sell for higher, all this stuff. And so, time went on. We calmed down a little bit, and it's not the end of the world. Commissions are a little bit lower, but we already are finding solutions, and it's not as bad as we were originally thinking. Is the good news. So hit me up if you want more, details on that. Hear what our team is doing to kind of have solutions to these lowered EPCs. But the reason I bring this up is because last month I sold several Everbright accounts, and what happened was the installer we were using did not want to install my accounts because they were duplexes. They had shared meters, so I had to switch to a different installer, and I had to re-sign, or I'm in the process of re-signing several of these accounts. And so, first thought that came to my mind when this change happened, and part of the reason why I was, kind of having a mini freak out in my head, is because a handful of these deals I signed from last month, I had not re-signed yet. And I was just, dragging my feet a little bit, hadn't gotten around to re-sign them, reached out to them once or twice, but hadn't made a ton of attempts yet to go re-sign these people. Basically, they're sitting there, they're disqualified by the one installer. So they didn't know that. They just think that their solar's kind of, in the queue waiting. But I hadn't gotten in touch with them other than making one or two attempts just to give them a call. I hadn't got a hold of them. So in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to have to go re-sign these people? And now Everbright, they just lowered the EPCs. Am I going to have to lose a ton of commission on these? Or am I going to have to go tell them that their price has gone up significantly? So I'm just like, man, this is going to be a headache. So what the lesson is that I should have acted on this quick. The lesson is you should not just leave deals sitting there with holds on them, because you never know when one of these installers or one of these financiers rather is going to drop their EPCs, is going to change, what's going on with it. Maybe you're selling loans. Could be tomorrow these people raise the dealer fee with it. Could be tomorrow that the interest rate you originally sold them at goes away. Maybe you didn't re-sign them. So I just remembered so many times in my solar career where I did not act quick and stuff happens. Hey, if you've been in the industry a while, if you just leave accounts sitting there, then bad things can happen. Hey, I've had a number of times where I had to go re-sign a customer. Maybe they needed a panel upgrade. Maybe they needed a new roof. Maybe there were just documents. Their home was in a trust. Whatever the case was, I'm like, I'm just going to go sell more accounts. I'll figure that out later. And sure enough, I wait. I don't take care of the hold that's on the account. Then I try to get the hold of the customer a month later, and they don't respond. They take it as a sign that they're just going to cancel it just because we didn't figure this out. Or the other thing, I had one account where I left it on hold for probably a couple months or so, and they had some trust issue come up, trust document. I went back and we almost had to restart the entire process. And at that point, the customer is so frustrated. It's been like a month and a half, 2 months, and I have to go back practically to square one. This is partially the installer's fault when this happened, because I thought they were progressing the account still, that we had a permit ready to install. And because I didn't get these trust documents or whatever it was that was needed, they didn't progress it. They didn't have a permit. They didn't do anything. So I had to go tell the customer, hey, we got to start over, and it's going to be another couple months because we didn't even start on your solar deal. I didn't tell them that. But the customer took it as a sign and is like, you know what? I don't want to wait. This is went on long enough, he canceled the account. $10,000 commission gone, just like that. So learn from my mistake, and I'm positive if you have been in the industry, you've seen people do this. I see people all the time in my office here in San Diego, and just from every company, that decide, you know what, I'm just going to procrastinate. I'm going to not deal with this hold right away. And they lose accounts because of it. And they're not, even if the account goes through, they're not seeing that commission check for much longer than they should have to wait. Like, you shouldn't have to wait forever and ever and ever to get paid. Okay. So remember, money loves speed. Whatever you can do to speed up the process for your customer, for your install, make sure you do it. Okay. And my story does have a small positive. It's not all bad. Okay. Luckily, what I did do, right, and I kind of dodged a bullet with this, is I had quoted out in Everbright, I quoted out the price that I needed to put these customers at. In other words, I sold them through one installer, and then I switched them to the other. And luckily I did go out and quote the exact system I needed. I saved the quote in there, and that was done a couple weeks back. I didn't drag my feet on that, luckily. So because of that, it looks like I'm actually going to be able to give them the same pricing, and I'm going to be able to make the same commission on it. Woohoo. Yippee, right? So I'm glad about that. Dodged a bullet, but it's not always going to be like that. You want to make sure you are not leaving these people out to dry. You want to make sure you're going, re-signing, whatever you need to do, because it just makes your life that much easier in the beginning. Okay, so remember, money loves speed. Do whatever you can to speed up the process for yourself, for your installs, for your customers. One of my friends in the industry, he has a assistant, and what he does, he actually pays his assistant bonuses to help him speed up these accounts. So he's working with different installers. He will go and say, hey, if you can help me get this installed in 30 days or less, you're going to get a couple $100 bonus for this account. Because he knows that the quicker he can get them installed, the better, right? You're going to have way more retention. You're going to have way more satisfaction, and you're going to see that money quicker. Okay. And make sure you're also focusing on PTO, permission to operate. Like, we should want speed in the install because that's when we get paid. But remember, don't sacrifice speed of install. I've seen on the flip side of that, some of these installers, you can get quick installs and then the PTO is trash. Like 6 months later, get PTO. Right. So ultimately, we want quick permission to operate for the customer, because that's when they're going to turn their system on. That's when they're going to start seeing savings. And that's what we should focus on, not just a quick install, us get paid, and then forget about the customer, which I've also seen. Make sure you get a quick install and, as quick as possible, PTO, permission to operate, which you can't always control, but there are things you can do. Maybe don't install without a permit, because that's probably going to delay the permission to operate. So all things to consider in this solar coaster we are on. Okay, so hopefully that helps. Remember, don't procrastinate. Don't put off what can be done today until tomorrow. Make sure you have speed in the process. And speaking of speed, on the next episode, we're going to be having someone that is the first time I've had on the podcast, a Super Bowl champion. How sick, right? His name is Satema Gnali. This guy is a stud. He actually was in the door-to-door industry. He sold alarms for 5 years, I believe. Now he is a very successful coach, entrepreneur, runs live events, coaches people. He looks like The Rock, just huge, freaking jacked, right? So make sure you tune in. It was such an honor to have him on. He is definitely one of our higher profile guests that we've had on the show. Make sure you don't miss out. He shares his journey being in door-to-door, the lessons he learned from it, and really just the level of obsession it took to have success in door-to-door, which we need to apply in the solar industry. Okay, so can't wait to see you on the next episode. Go grab your tickets to the Solarpreneur Referral Bootcamp. Head over to bootcamp.solarpreneurs.com. We'll see you there, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace out.